Hey ladies, today is Sunday, July 4th, 2021. Happy Independence Day. Um, so I am now 14 weeks, 2 days pregnant, or 14 weeks, 5 days pregnant, depending on which OB you go by. But as I mentioned before, I've seen two OBs and I have received two different due dates. One being December 28th, 2021, and the other being December 31st, 2021. So it's like 3 days or something in between them. But anyway, due dates are estimates, and I'm never going to make it to my due date because, like my first pregnancy, I'm going to be induced at 38 weeks. So I guess the due date matters to the point of which day I get induced. But I finally settled on a OB, and so I think I'm moving away from the OB I used the first time, just because just kind of want to do things differently, and I will not do things. I mean, as far as the tests and all of that, and being induced at 38 weeks, both OBs have that same plan, so that won't be different. And all the extra monitoring that I did with my first pregnancy, this other OB plans to do all of that too, so that won't be different. But just a different OB, and maybe a fresh start given some of the problems I had with my last delivery. Um, so the morning sickness, I know that's what I've been talking about. Well, just to give you an update on that, since I am 14 plus weeks pregnant, it started to get better. I know I'm saying that like cautiously, fingers crossed. It has started to get better. It's not completely gone. I still have nausea. I don't have all day nausea anymore. Like when it first hit me, it hit me with all day nausea all the time. And then could like lots of vomiting and, multiple times a day. But then the nausea, the way it kind of tapered off for me is the nausea remained, but I stopped vomiting. So now I haven't actually had any vomiting in maybe a week, over a week and a half at least. So I can brush my teeth with no vomiting. So that in itself was a game changer. So that started or stopped around 13 weeks is when I was able to like brush my teeth, I've noticed, without having any vomiting or gagging, really. So super plus on that. Then, so that was then, and then now, um, but I still have some nausea occasionally during the day. It's not all day. So listen, it's so much better than what it was, because it was a point where I couldn't keep anything down. And like I said, I haven't had any vomiting and even then it had started to taper off to maybe like once or twice a day. Um, but like I said, that has stopped. So, you know, being optimistic that it does not return. Um, so yeah, so that's better. And generally morning sickness gets better between 14 and 15 weeks, or around 14, 15 weeks, somewhere around there. And I am technically in the second trimester now. So this is all very common. It's not necessarily what I had with my first pregnancy, although I did have my morning sickness stop around this time in my first pregnancy. But what I learned is that the morning sickness I had in my first pregnancy was nothing compared to what I experienced with this pregnancy. Nothing. And then so yeah, I had nausea. I had some all day nausea, but I very rarely had any vomiting. Like maybe once or twice literally a handful of times in my first pregnancy. So this time taught me more of the meaning of what morning sickness actually, is and can be. Um, in regards to my COVID vaccine. So I told you guys that I was going to get the vaccine once I started feeling better. And so I really do mean that. And I did schedule an appointment. And my appointment was yesterday to get my first shot. Because I was started feeling better. And now, like I said, my morning sickness hasn't completely gone away, but I wanted to get the shot because, I've grappled with this. I've spoken with my doctors. I've gotten conflicted information from doctors. Um, but one thing has been consistent. The reality is there isn't a lot of information. There isn't. And that's consistent and that's honest. And originally when they tested, of course, they're not testing pregnant women. Pregnant women weren't lining up to say, hey, test me. Then when they were first trying and testing these vaccines. So there's not a lot of data on pregnancy and the vaccines. Now, there is data on getting COVID and being pregnant. And just from what they put out there, women who are pregnant and get COVID tend to have worse symptoms. Now, again, so they know that COVID can be bad. COVID-19 can be bad on a pregnant woman. So that is why there are suggestions. I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I know this is it's very controversial. And on top of that, the information is just so conflicting out there. There are suggestions that pregnant women get the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, I said suggestions and I did not necessarily say recommendations because it's actually not 100% recommended. It's not recommended. It's just like your doctor may suggest it, but there's no real official recommendation that pregnant women get it. And your doctor may recommend that you get it, and you should definitely listen to your doctor and do what you feel is best. But I'm saying officially, there's no official recommendation that you get it, because there are no studies on how it will affect, the pregnancy. So not just while you're pregnant, but after your baby is born, there's no way, right? It just hasn't been out long enough for them to have the information to say this will never harm your child, or they don't think it will. But no one, if anyone's telling you 100%, there's just, how do they know? These vaccines are new, so, they don't know. And that's fine because, it's, in life, even having a baby, you have to make risks. And, you're going to have to, listen, having a baby is risky for everybody. And you have to take chances and you make calculated risk. We do it every day in life. So you weigh your options. You weigh your options and you say, do I want to risk getting COVID? Do I want to risk the vaccine? Sometimes your factors may change as you get more information. Your factors may change, as time changes, and just that's what happens. You know more. You make different decisions or whatever. But with the information you have right now, you have to definitely weigh it. Now, I am not an anti-vaxxer at all. My husband is fully vaccinated. I completely supported him when he was getting it, his vaccination shots. I was still feeling horrible at that time, so I was not getting them myself, and I was still in the first trimester, so I completely supported him in getting it. Like I told you, I was told by one of the OBs and by the fertility specialist to wait until second trimester before getting the vaccination shot. And that was really because there's just not a lot of information. And so the way my OB put it was that in situations like this where there aren't a lot of there is not a lot of information, the OB community generally recommends waiting until second trimester because first trimester is so risky and things are still developing. And I'm like, listen, things are going to be developing until the baby's born, but it's still a situation of second trimester is more when you should get it, is what I was told. I have another OB that told me I can get it whenever I wanted to. Did not matter if you were in first or second trimester. So the decision was left up to me. After having 3 doctors, one being my fertility specialist, 2 being OBs, I decided to wait until second trimester. And then I also decided to wait until I felt better because there could be side effects to the vaccination. I didn't want to I was already struggling to function with morning sickness. I didn't want to add the vaccine side effects to that. And like I said, one of my OBs did say you can get it right away. There was no need to wait till second trimester. But even she did recommend that I wait until I was probably feeling better. So I took that to be, okay, I'll just wait out the morning sickness if nothing else, which is roughly, put me in the second trimester anyway. But anyway, to go back to the story. So I made my vaccination shot. I went at Walgreens. It's pretty easy where I am to get access to the vaccination. So you can do same day in some places, walk in some places. So, but I made an appointment, and I went down there. And, I've weighed all the options. I've been talking about it. I've been thinking about it. I've been reading about it. There's not much to read about. It really isn't, because there's not a lot of information. So you can, you don't know who to trust and what to trust. So again, go with what you feel and your doctor says. But when I went to get the shot, I filled out the form. Now you have to fill out a form. I'm assuming you have to do this everywhere, where they ask you about just some basic, like, do you have any conditions, and have you had the COVID or been around someone in the last 14 days? Do you feel sick? Stuff like that. One of the questions is whether you're pregnant. And I am. So I said yes. So I go in the booth with the pharmacist who's giving the vaccine. And he looks at the form. Well, he had already looked at it before coming in. And he said, I don't recommend this shot for pregnant women. And so I'm like, wait, what? So he says to me, well, I'm on the fence about it. There's just not a lot of information. And, I'm really concerned that they're going to come out with something, could be 5 years, could be 10 years, saying that this vaccine was not safe for your fetus. He referred to it as a fetus, but okay, it is a fetus. It is technically a fetus. It is not a baby. He said for your fetus, and I would hate for you to do something and regret it later. So I just want to make sure you have the information. And again, this is what he's saying to me. And I'm kind of like, I guess freaked out is the word, because I'm not expecting the pharmacist of all people. Listen, I struggled with when to do it, if to do it. I finally did it. I got my behind down to the place to do it. And here I am, and the pharmacist is telling me, I don't recommend pregnant women get this vaccine. Or not this, they're giving out the Pfizer vaccine. So it's not because of like that particular vaccine. He meant the vaccines in general. So any of the COVID vaccines. Then he goes on to give me, to pull out the form, because I guess they give you a form that has like, not the form, the paperwork that like tells you about the vaccination. And he's like, this is not an FDA approved vaccination. It says it is unapproved. They don't have information about it. They don't know what will happen. Then he's telling me it may protect you. It may not protect you. It says on the form, and it does say on the pamphlet or whatever, that it's not going to protect everyone, and that you can still get COVID, which we know that you can still get COVID when you get the vaccine. It's just that it's supposed to lessen your symptoms. So if you get it, it's not supposed to be severe. It doesn't necessarily stop you from getting it. It does stop the symptoms from being as severe. So maybe it makes it more like a flu than, a deadly disease or whatever. I don't know. But he tells me, I'm not trying to sway you either way. He does say that. He said to me that he was on the fence. Which I was on the fence. So I'm like, here you are. I go down here, and this is unsolicited information, by the way. I did not ask him, what do you think? I did not come in the booth and say, what do you think about me getting a 14-week pregnant woman getting the vaccination? This was unsolicited. Because I'd already made up my mind, right? I'm here to get the shot. So I did not ask him at this point, what do you think? So he's just like, if you want to boost your immune system, you should take vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc. And then he also tells me that he himself had not gotten the vaccine. And this is the pharmacist. This is not, I don't know. This is the pharmacist. So needless to say, I was freaked out. And because I was freaked out, sorry, my battery's dying. I kind of went over the time I had allotted for myself. But because I was freaked out, I had decided to reschedule. So I definitely am still committed to getting the vaccination. I just did not expect that reaction from the pharmacist. And I didn't even care if he judged me. I wasn't thinking like, oh, I don't want him judging me. It wasn't even that. I didn't even process that. It was just like, I was already on the fence, and I'd been going back and forth. And ultimately, I felt that the benefits outweighed the risk. So I was going to do it. And then he just kind of freaked me out. So no, I didn't get it yet. I still plan to. I do. I really do. And I will let you know. And I still, I need to reschedule. I don't know if I'll go to a different location or just, but whatever. And so that's it. So I will talk to you guys soon. And so that's where I am. Again, I know a lot of people, this is controversial. Everyone gets upset, yada, yada. You do this, you don't do this, yada. Personal decisions. So I'm just telling you, this is where I am now. And like I said, I'm still in favor of it. I just didn't expect that reaction. And had he just did his job and gave me the shot, I'd have at least my first shot right now. But it kind of scared me off. And I'm like, all right, so I just told him I'd reschedule. He told me to take some time and think about it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll reschedule. Anyway, talk to you guys later.